Testing. Testing. Is this thing on? I hope so. It has been a minute. Honestly, I'm having some tech issues. I hope this works. Okay. Hi. Long time no see. It has been a very long time since I had last uploaded. I'm sure for those of you who maybe still remember me, you may have been wondering like where I've been or what I've been doing. I am gonna answer those questions in this video. To be honest, this video is not like, you know, it's not planned, it's not structured, it's simply just kind of my thoughts. So if it's a little all over the place, like, please bear with me. Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of give an update on, you know, what's been going on and where I've been and why I've been away and stuff like that. So, first and foremost, I just want to say, for those of you over the past, like, how long has it been? I think the last upload I made was September 2023, and it is now April 2025, which is like, that's like 7 months, like a year and 7 months. It's been over a year and a half, like 19-ish months. I think I'm doing that math right. For those of you over that time who have still been commenting on my videos, asking like where I've been, what I've been doing, I just want to start this video off by saying those comments truly mean the world to me. Like the fact that, you know, there were still a handful of you guys that like seem to really care, seem to be really curious. It's so stupid. I got a comment on New Year's Day that I only recently replied to, kind of talking, just kind of wishing me Happy New Year. And in January, it was still basically like a year and a half of me not uploading. And there's something about that just like really just, I don't know, it just kind of made me tear up a little bit. It was so very sweet. It was very like touching. And I can't really articulate why. I just think, you know, it was just very pleasant to read. So with that said, I guess I'll talk about where I've been. When last I uploaded a video, I had uploaded the finale of Tears of the Kingdom, just kind of like my reaction to the final boss. And the video before that was honestly, to this day, probably my proudest achievement. Like, it did really well. This is a milestone I always wanted to hit, like 10K. And for it to get this far, it was so exciting. It was so cool. And it really felt like this video was going to be the start of like me actually like getting to a place that, or like taking the channel to a place that I'd always wanted to, you know, to a level or degree that I always wanted to. It was super, super exciting. But then unfortunately, after this finale video was published, I'm not going to go into the details, but there was something that kind of happened, like a certain, I wouldn't say it's like an incident or anything like that. I wouldn't say it's like, it was just a lot of, I would say a couple of very, man, I don't know how to describe it. I would just say a couple of hard life circumstances hit me at the same time. And something that I kind of thought I would have been better equipped for, I realized that I wasn't. And as a result, it hit me pretty hard. It kind of changed the way I thought. It really, like, I'm gonna come out and say it, okay? 2024, I think I can safely say, has easily been the worst year of my entire life. It was incredibly hard. It was such a uphill battle at all times. It was such a battle in my own brain, honestly. I will say that before this year, I had kind of had a at least I thought I had an understanding in my head of like maybe what it felt like to be depressed, or, you know, to be in a lower state of mind that impacts you to such a degree, basically. And or lower is the wrong word. I guess I should just say like a state of mind that is clearly not pleasant. And I think during this year I reached the closest I've ever been to that level, and I think that year gave me the best understanding, or the, like, my understanding of what that feels like has, I feel like, never been stronger. And there have been a couple resulting issues. Currently, I'm still dealing with the repercussions. I'm still trying to just, like, heal from a pretty, maybe traumatic is a bit of a extreme word, but I'd say heal from a series of events that changed me greatly. And unfortunately, those events had a lot of negative consequences. Even though I've learned a lot, like, the price of that learning is something that still feels too great. And even now in April of 2025, something I'm still trying to deal with. Yeah, as you know, as a result, like, I think I've been having some problems with, like, anxiety and things like that. And yeah, that's probably as personal as I would ever get on this channel. But that's kind of what happened, and it's been a little hard. Also, I guess one other personal detail is I am currently in grad school. This is my last semester, and grad school is no joke, man. Oh my goodness gracious me. Like, I thought it would be a nice little quirky, hey, let's get a master's degree and dip. But this is the most work and I think school stress I've felt in a while. Just this entire year. Thankfully, this is my last semester, but dealing with that on top of, like, these other circumstances and just a couple other things I don't really want to get into, it's been pretty hard. And, you know, as a result, like, YouTube was something I still have my love for, but anytime I sat down to do it, it just felt like so many things in my brain were clouding. Like, it felt like these things, like this, like, battle in my head, and, like, all these, like, you know, like, negative results of these circumstances, made it feel like every time I sat down to do it, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't bring myself to show the same love. And, unfortunately, it's a very cruel cycle, because as more and more time went on, I started to feel more and more guilty because it has been so long. And, you know, the longer time passed, the more guilty I felt. And then the guilt started making me feel like, oh, I should just give up completely. And then that was kind of a very cruel cycle. In systems dynamics, we would call that a reinforcing loop, which the two you know, compounded on themselves. And eventually I reached a very point where I was just like, it felt hard to get back into YouTube. Also, a very big problem was my next video, the video I had planned. I'm still sitting on the recording. I think by far and away is my best idea. It is, like, the most, like, quality, at least on paper, and the idea I have in my head, the vision I have for it, like, video I'll ever put out. Or at least, like, compared to the rest of them, okay? I was so excited for this idea. I was so proud of it. I was so ready. And that was also kind of hard because, like, I think if I didn't have such a big project sitting in front of me, I may have been able to get back into it easier. But because I had this, like, behemoth staring me down, and I don't want to say that in a negative way, because I am truly thankful I get to make videos that at least a handful of you care about. But, you know, that didn't help. Like, it was just an extra layer of friction in the sense that, like, oh, I can't get back into this, you know? I'm saying all this to say that I still love creating. All these ideas have flashed over the past year. I have at least I got a lot of ideas, man. I'm very excited. And for those of you who still remember me, or those of you who still care, and for the record, I'm not trying to say that in a self-pitiable way. Like my channel, I'm very proud of where it is. It's 1,900 subscribers. I'm so that's a number I never thought I'd achieve realistically. But also in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty, I would say it's on the smaller end. And given that, I completely understand why many people would have forgotten, or many people just don't really remember. I'm sure if you sub to me at some point and then you're seeing this video in your sub feed, you're like, who the hell is this guy talking about some update? I don't even remember. And I think that's I think that's a very real possibility, and that's totally fine. I totally get it. It's just I am hoping that slowly but surely I'm gonna climb back to the point I was and then keep going from there. But the main thing I want to say is for those of you who are still here and are still if you watch for those of you who maybe used to watch the old videos and you're still maybe interested in seeing something I put out, that really does mean the world to me. And and even if they're none of you, even if I'm talking to a brick wall right now, that's okay, because I will do my best to get back to the point where I had an audience who really cared. But for those of you who are still here for some reason, from the bottom of my heart, really, I just want to thank you. Going forward, I think what I'm actually going to do is maybe sometime this week. I mean, this week is a really hard week for me in terms of schoolwork, but I may stream on YouTube and just have a chill time, see what happens, and I think that's it. I will say two more things actually. Number one, I'm gonna get back into the swing of making YouTube videos, but it has been a long time since I've edited anything, or things like that. So I think as I ramp up to where I was before in terms of just editing skill and whatever, the videos that I may put out just may be a little bit lower quality than the things I was putting up near the end of or right before I was putting out the break. I'm still trying to make them the best I can, but I hope you'll bear with me. The last thing I want to say is, I don't want to sound like I'm asking for pity or anything, or I'm not even honestly trying to make this video in a woe is me type of deal. People go through so many problems, and everybody's fighting some kind of battle, okay? And that's not to say just because other people's wounds are deeper or more frequent, that should invalidate yours. The main thing is I don't want to sit here and just reinforce this fact that I'm doing terribly. It has been a rough year, again, the worst year of my life, but I think I see the light at the end of the tunnel. And, my best friend tells me all the time, he's healing is a process that it's not linear as much as you'd like it to be. It's a sine curve. And if you've seen a sine curve, sometimes you're swinging above the x-axis, sometimes you're swinging below. But eventually you get to a point where you're healed, so I say all that just to say hey, I don't know what the future holds for me. I may stream this week and then not have time to do it for a little while. I may be a little inconsistent, and I know it's very unfair of me to ask, so if those of you here, honestly, I'm gonna be so real. If you guys hear this video and you're hey man, I think you're cool, I think you make good content, but unfortunately you're just too inconsistent for me, that is a completely valid takeaway. I totally respect that. But I say all that to say I'm working towards a point where I can be consistent again, where I can, and you know, some of that is out of my control, truly, just because grad school is like, god damn, this shit is tough. But also, it's a mental battle, I think, at some point, and I think you know, I am finally seeing the vision of me winning that shit. Because I'm not gonna lie, your boy's mind has been beating his ass. Your boy's anxiety has been beating his ass. But finally, it's time to fight back, bro. It's time to block. Hit him with a mean right hook. And see what happens. So, damn, I've been rambling for 16 minutes. Okay, this is an unedited mess. I am so sorry. If you listen this long, honestly, that's crazy. It really means the world to me. And I feel honestly kind of guilty to ask this, but I will say, like, if you're still interested in like seeing content from me, if you're still interested in like seeing the things I create, if you could let me know just down below, that would be an extra layer of reassurance that would really help, I think. So with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. And I'm gonna do the intro, except the outro, except I'm not gonna ask you to like and subscribe because that feels kind of unfair of me right now. But I will say bye. Wait, that was pretty bad. Bye. Okay, I think that was pretty good.